Hey, welcome back to Aaron's 1972 Datsun 510. Today we're going to adjust the valves on this Nissan L20B. So let's get to it. So in the previous video, if you watched it, I got the transmission back together and got the car running again, and the transmission is shifting fine, and so that's good news. However, the bad news is it didn't fix the noise that was coming from my car. If you want to check that out, look at this card above, maybe go back and check out my last video where I actually rebuild the entire transmission. Well, I recognized pretty quickly that my microphone has stopped working. So while I figure that out, let's go ahead and check out the tools that I'm going to be using to adjust my valves today. So the tools needed to do this job are a feeler gauge, a 17mm, a 14mm, a 10mm socket just to get the valve cover off, a flathead screwdriver, and a Phillips head screwdriver. So that's it. Let's go ahead and start working on it. Holy cow, talk about how long it takes me to make these videos. Yes, that says 29 March 2021, and right now it is December the 23rd, 2021 when I'm making this video. I want to apologize for my neighbor dog barking, but let's go ahead and get through this. So the intake valves and exhaust valves are set differently on a Datsun L20B. For the cold valve clearances, you're going to set it at 0.8 for the intake and 0.10 inches for the exhaust valves. For heated up or whenever they are hot, you're going to set the valves at 0.1 for the intake and 0.12 for the exhaust. I haven't adjusted the valves on this, and so I want to get everything ready and sort of do a practice run. So I am going to set them cold before I set them hot. The best practice is to get the engine hot and just set them all exactly while the engine's hot so it's done. That being said, this will be a good dry run, or one might say cold run, in order to do this. I've already got them set in order here, and that way I can log it in my logbook for the 510. Next thing we'll do, you saw the tools that we need to do this. I'm going to go ahead and take off the valve cover and make for sure everything, all the tools I have are the correct tools. Let's get it done. Alright, let's see if I can do a good job of explaining this. First I have to take off the valve cover, and once I get that done, I also realize I need a 27mm socket so I can turn the crankshaft, which then makes the camshaft spin. Once I do that, I take out the spark plugs so that way I don't have any compression in the cylinders, stopping me from rotating the engine more freely. I then use the 17 and the 14mm end wrenches to break the nuts loose, and then I use the flathead screwdriver to actually sort of adjust the tappet piece. I realize that one of my my end wrenches is a little bit too thick, and so I go ahead and shave down the not as nice one so that way they fit more easily into the space that I need them to fit. Once I get that done, I go through and I adjust all the valves in the cold settings, which I already showed a little bit ago. Once I get that done, I button it back up and warm it up. Another thing that you'll see later on is that I actually use zip ties to identify which of the feeler gauges needs to be out, so that way I don't lose them while I'm trying to do this quickly. Okay, so the valves were adjusted. They were pretty close to spot on, but again, I hadn't done it, so I figured I should try it. Now that I've done that, I'll go ahead and start and warm up the car, and then we'll do the hot. A thing that I forgot that I would need is a 27mm. So edit the first video to put the 27mm in. Nice 900 RPM idle, and the car is almost warmed up. That's pretty warm. So now that it's about warmed up, we'll go ahead and we're going to disassemble this really quickly after the engine turns off, now that it's up to operating temperature. So we'll go ahead and get ready for that. Whee! Whee! Let's get that a little smoother. The valve cover's back on. Everything's connected. I've got all the tools out of the engine bay. So it is time to start this thing up and see what it sounds like. Probably don't need this reminder anymore. Take it for a test drive. So I don't have a mount for my GoPro in this car, so I apologize. I'll have to get one here in the next little bit, but also my temperature gauge isn't working, so that's something I'll need to fix as well. So go ahead and take her out, see what she sounds like. I didn't really think that valves were out of, you know, crazy bad before. I never adjusted them, so felt like a new engine should probably have its valves adjusted. See if I can get that noise to show itself. I'll have to do some acceleration. Shifter feels nice. For those wanting to hear that noise.